August 1944. Paris is celebrating its liberation. After 4 years of occupation, joy is unbridled. But for more than 600,000 French STO or compulsory service workers, the war was not yet over. In the factories of the Reich, they shared the fate of 8 million forced labourers, rounded up from all over Europe by the Nazi regime. We're going to tell you about this period as seen through the eyes of a young French STO worker. His name is Jean Baudet, and at the age of 20, he was assigned to KDF Start, a factory town near Hanover. From his memoirs and personal records, we have reconstructed his story and his thoughts.
Tonight at KDF, we're celebrating the liberation of Paris. Whether in Lille or Marseille, we're all Parisian, and we shout, "Vive de Gaulle!" When I press the shutter release, my friend Jean bursts out laughing. It was he who hung the French flag on the wall. But the celebrations were short-lived. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the Lagerführer, or camp commander, enters the dormitory, shouting, "Ausdahin! Los!" And as every day you have to go and slave, our liberation is still only a dream. Sundays at KDF, we don't work. You know he's still asleep. He was on nights yesterday. You while away the time as best you can. Some read, others play cards. Picard draws. I take photos in secret. It's banned, but I don't care. I swap cigarettes for films with a guy who works in the kitchens. Everyone has the blues. I've been here more than a year. A year of being a slave to the Jerrys. Since the landings, the mail from France has been unreliable. I haven't heard from my parents. I don't even know if they're still alive. I miss my mother. 3 months ago, we all changed our hours and went to 3 8-hour shifts. Tomorrow, I start at midnight. KDF, Kraft durch Freude, strength through joy.
In 1938, KDF was the Nazi regime's model factory. It was here at its opening that Hitler launched the production of the people's car, the Volkswagen. Since Germany had been at war, KDF had been making military vehicles. In 10,000 work camps scattered over the territory of the Reich, STO workers had become the cogs of the German war industry.
I hope I got it. This morning I hid my camera in my jacket. Before crossing the canal, I present my Ausweis, and it's off to 10 hours work. I work on a stamping machine, 130 pieces per hour for the Greater Germanic Reich. The tanks that tackle the Red Army on the Eastern Front, the machine guns that scythe down the GIs in Italy, and the bombs that fall on innocent civilians are all made by us. And it makes me sick. Russians and Ukrainians are working on the other side of the workshop. I hear them singing in the morning. Their low voices are soothing. I haven't spoken to a woman in so long. Suddenly, My gaze meets Natasha's. My heart is racing. KDF, September 15th, 1944. Dear parents, I write this letter not knowing whether you'll receive it. The bombing has been terrible, yet I am unscathed. We spent 2 nights huddled in the shelters. The factory was hit in several spots, and a lot of buildings burned. 3 friends died. The good news is 150 Frenchmen, including me, are moving to Neindorf, a village 13 kilometers away. We'll no doubt be less under the eyes of the police and the SS, who don't spare their blows. And finally, we'll escape the Allied bombing, which is more and more frequent.
In February 1945, Germany hadn't yet capitulated, but on the shores of the Black Sea, in Yalta, the Allies were already busy deciding on Europe's future. Churchill and Roosevelt negotiated the post-war borders with Stalin. The fate of millions of Europeans would soon change dramatically.
Seven months have passed since I left KDF, and I feel like a new man. In Neindorf, we almost felt like we were free. We're in the countryside, everything is disorganized, and we're no longer clocking on. By now, the factory is no more than a shed, and 3 old Werkschutz to guard us. We get by for grub. We manage to find potatoes and pinch chickens or rabbits from the surrounding farms. Two months ago, a group of Russian and Ukrainian workers were transferred here. Their huts are just next to ours. Every Sunday, the Russians hold a dance. I love dancing, so I went. And there, I saw Natasha. I couldn't believe my eyes. When I asked her to dance, she blushed.
March 1945 saw the Red Army win a series of victories in the east. Its advance to Berlin seemed inexorable. In the west, the Americans, supported by British and French troops, crossed the Rhine. For Jean Baudet and for millions like him, the freedom so long hoped for was finally near.
In the hut, Jean has repaired an old radio. Every evening after work, we monitor the Allies' advance. Given our position, we will be liberated by the Americans. It's a virtual certainty. I asked Picard to paint a portrait of Natasha. For a month, we've been inseparable. Jean took our photo in front of the hut. She doesn't speak French. I don't know a word of Russian. Our only common language is German, of which we both speak a pidgin form. I'm in love. In the barrack room, everyone has heard a rumor. We're going to be evacuated, said Le Boniek, who heard the news from the Werkschutz himself. Others say that the Germans are so glad to surrender to the Americans that evacuation to the east seems unthinkable. At any rate, we haven't worked since Monday. A sure sign that something is going on. In the night of April 12, I'm awoken by the noise of cannons. There's fighting around Brunswick. The shooting gets closer, until suddenly someone shouts, "They're here! They're here! The Americans!" It's them. There's no doubt. Despite the Lagerführer's orders, we run to meet them. I hold my camera at arm's length and press the shutter. It was the end of our ordeal. You can stick your lousy victory up your ass. The chorus we so often hummed softly is now sung out loud. Natasha runs towards me and we kiss. Soon, France and freedom.
In Germany, as well as in Poland and Czechoslovakia, millions of men were gradually tasting freedom. They were forced laborers, prisoners of war, or deportees. Their sole desire now was to return to their country and their family. But the final whistle still hadn't been blown. Everywhere the fighting continued.
Nobody's in charge anymore. The Americans have disappeared, as has the Lagerführer. Good thing, too. He'd have ended up at the end of a rope. Le Mataf, Pierre, and Marco hang around in front of the hut. We're left to our own devices. Yesterday, the grocery in Neindorf was looted, and the drink flows freely. Suddenly, someone shouts, "Everyone to the station!" A goods train has been immobilized on a siding. The doors come off and the rush begins. Packages are ripped open and thrown on the ballast. A loud, sweaty struggle ensues. A dress, a blouse, underwear, a slouch hat. A camera. It's a gem. This one's for me. Back at the camp, the girls dress up. I try out my new camera. Natasha and Olga, her best friend, strike a pose as two middle-class German girls. They're like little girls on Christmas Eve. Natasha smiles at me. I'm happy. But the party degenerates. The Russians have had a hard time. They decide to make the Germans pay. In the village, people are ill-treated, women raped, and a farm sacked. This climate of revenge spoils our joy. Luckily, this morning, our KDF friends came for us in a truck. You'll be safe there. The French have taken over the camp. Natasha has decided to leave with me. Nothing else matters to her. Not her country, nor even her family. She disguised herself as a man in order to go unnoticed among our friends. The French flag is flying in front of the KDF factory. Our comrades welcome us by singing the Marseillaise. I am moved to tears. I find friends I haven't seen since August. To the right is Pierrot with his Lorraine Cross, and in front, with his Gestapo gabardine, is Martin. He's taken camp security in hand while we wait to be repatriated. Could Natasha come with us? Dear parents, I am writing from KDF for the first time in 9 months to tell you I have been liberated and am in perfect health. To pass the time, we have converted our barrack room so that it's unrecognizable. Half is reserved for the kitchen, the other for the living space with couches, armchairs, radio, chandeliers, carpet. The change in our lifestyle was so swift, we often wondered whether we were dreaming and would have to go back to work with a bowl of soup at midday and los all day long. I still don't know when we'll be able to go home. All the roads and railways are impassable. But don't worry, Mom. Now that the mail is working again, I'll let you know.
Germany was in ruins. Chaos reigned everywhere. For Natasha, as for hundreds of thousands of forced laborers from Eastern Europe, the prospect of returning home was a concern. Everyone knew that Stalin had sworn to send Soviet prisoners of war freed from Nazi camps to the Gulag. The forced laborers feared they may suffer the same fate.
Today we played at being tourists for the first time since we arrived in Germany. We visited Wolfsburg Castle, which is close by the factory. Everyone got dressed up. Paolo and his friend Irina, Natasha, and me. With our bouquets of flowers, we looked like we were engaged, but the reality is more complicated. What'll become of us? We didn't know whether the Americans would agree to send Russians and Ukrainians home with us.
On April the 16th, 1945, the Red Army entered Berlin. 2 weeks later, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. Berlin fell. The Nazi regime had had its day.
This is London calling. Here is a news flash. The German radio has just announced that Hitler is dead. I repeat that. The German radio has just announced that Hitler...
Our nightmare is at an end. The long-awaited day has arrived. In the barracks, everyone is packing feverishly. Yet I feel as much sadness as joy. Natasha won't be coming with me, I learned yesterday. She hasn't stopped crying since. What makes me furious is that it wasn't the Americans, but the French who refused to sign her pass. I take a final photo of friends. Then hand the camera to Paolo so he can take one of Natasha and me. I have a lump in my throat. Natasha couldn't help bringing her bag, hoping for a miracle at the 11th hour. She hastily scribbled her address in my notebook, then turned her back on me. As I watch the factory get smaller, everything becomes mixed up in my head. The good memories and the bad. We crossed the Rhine and came upon a convoy of German prisoners. The wheel is turning. Arriving at Liège station on May 8th, I hear that the war is over. I stick my head out the window. In the viewfinder, children are looking at me. They're walking around with a scarecrow effigy of Hitler.
In Paris, Moscow and New York, the Allies celebrated their victory over Nazism. That summer, more than 2 million men returned to France. The STO conscripts weren't received in the same way as the prisoners and the deportees. They reminded France of its humiliation, its compromises. Those who saw themselves as victims were sometimes seen as suspects.
The guy leading the interrogation wanted to know what I was doing in Germany and whether I'd volunteered. I almost lost my temper. He didn't seem aware that thousands of guys like me were sent by force to the Jerry's by the Vichy regime. And what exactly was he doing back then? I feel like I've arrived on another planet. They were liberated a year ago. They've already forgotten the war. They're cheerful. Back in the old den with my parents, I get the feeling I don't really belong. After the joy of reunion, the hugs and kisses, the atmosphere has changed. When I told my mother about Natasha and showed her a photo, her face became expressionless. I've not heard from Natasha in 2 weeks. Where is she?
Hello, Jean. Today I'm writing this letter for you. I'm already in France in the city of Lille, in a large Russian camp. Come and visit me. But you must be quick. We must leave for Russia soon. Jean, you must know why I came to France. My heart is sick for you. Show your father and mother my photo. Are you scared because I'm a Russian girl? I send you 1 million kisses. Ich liebe dich. Your Natasha.
Natasha's fate had been sealed in Moscow in December 1944. De Gaulle had given Stalin assurances that no Soviet citizen would be given refuge in France. As part of this agreement, close to 120,000 Soviet nationals were interned and deported to general indifference. Until she left on June the 25th, 1945, Natasha wrote to Jean every day, but he never received her letters. Only when his mother died did he find the envelope still intact in the bottom of a wardrobe. Jean Baudet never managed to trace Natasha.